going on a trip. Let's talk about that camera.
I've had a lot of people reach out to me recently and ask me about my cameras, what cameras you're using, you know, what cameras are best for this, that, and the other. And I don't mind these conversations whatsoever. I think picking the right camera for you is very, very important. It unlocks levels of creativity. Cameras that can get into certain situations or that favor in certain situations that you have a passion for when it comes to subject are very, very necessary in order for you to want to continue to go shoot. If I was to give a first-time photographer a 1DX Mark, you know, 1 with a 70 to 200, they may not have that much fun if they want to shoot street photography. Cameras are very, very important. I'm sorry if this thing starts dropping down. But one thing that I am telling people whenever it comes to it is, more than anything, having a camera that you feel that looks cool and that makes you feel cool is probably going to be the most important thing, because you're going to want to carry it everywhere.
Just got back from the quick trip. Had to give myself a couple tall boys, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, let's get to it. So whenever it comes to cameras, there's one simple thing, and not a rule, but there's one thing that I always think of whenever it comes to making a selection. What am I actually planning on doing with this thing? Am I planning on making money? Am I planning on using it for hobby and leisure? From there, I'm able to decide what would work best for me based on specs, price point, etc. If you're someone who is a hobbyist, who wants to grow in photography, you're starting out, or maybe you've been doing it for 10, 15 years, and you know that the main point of you having a camera is to just take photos of family and friends, events, document maybe some street photography. You should be looking for cameras that are, number one, at a valid price point for you, since you're not going to be bringing in any income along with these cameras. You're not going to earn any money off them. But number two, you should also be looking at, well, what is conducive to what I want to do? A small camera is probably going to be better for travel photography. A small camera is probably going to be better for street photography. And a small camera will mean I'll take it more places, whether it's family, friends, especially if you're an introvert, if you're shy. I'm not saying you can't do these things with large cameras whatsoever. Yes, you definitely can. But more times than not, a smaller camera, something that is less likely to get someone's attention, is something that a lot of people opt for. And I think for good reason. Now, whenever it comes to if you're making money off a camera, the first thing that I believe you should look for, hands down, without a doubt, has to be, where am I making my money? What am I doing? Am I just taking portraits? Am I doing sports photography? Am I doing videography for commercial work? Am I doing videography for some kind of fast-paced movement? Am I doing social media content? From there, you're able to make decisions on things. Social media, well, maybe I want something that'll do open gate. What's the best price point for that, so that I can shoot vertical and horizontal off the same aspect ratio? If you're someone who's shooting, you know, sports photography, maybe I want something with a high frame rate burst and something that is, you know, decent in low light, considering that a lot of long glass, especially long glass that is more on the affordable end, is going to be f2.8 to start out with, usually at a constant aperture. From there, you're also thinking of things like, if it comes to videography, do I need 8K? Do I need 4K? Do I need 10-bit? Do I need 422? Do I need all of these things that are talked about from other people, but are they relevant to me? The thing that I see a lot of people fall into is, you're a photographer who shoots portraits and you have to have the fastest video autofocus ever in a camera, and that's the spec that sells you when you're shooting portraits. You're not having to chase anyone down, let's be real. Or whenever someone's shooting video and they're just going to be doing social media work and they're looking at spending the extra money to get 8K at, you know, 16-bit raw, B-raw output, etc., you're only shooting for social media. You just need something that has a flexible color science and probably has good resolution that's going to look good on a phone screen. You don't need to spend extra money because you're assuming, oh, I'll grow with the camera and get more work. Buy the camera that does the job you need to do today, maybe with a little bit of bells and whistles so that you're future-proof. But as far as immediately buying a camera that's future-proof, if you don't make any money past this 1 gig that you have, or if you're looking at changing which direction you're going with your creative profession, you could be stuck with a camera that down the line you're gonna have to sell regardless. So if you're gonna have to sell, if you're gonna have to upgrade, don't really try to spend all your money on a camera that has bells and whistles that you absolutely don't need at the moment. Instead, focus on the lenses, the glass, and more importantly, the lighting. The other thing that I'm not a huge fan of whenever it comes to selecting a camera is this whole conversation about megapixel, and that being the most important thing. I don't think you need a high megapixel camera like 50, 60, 100 megapixels in order to create great images. Honestly, there's a lot of downsides to that, from storage, etc., and things that we don't talk about in a cost-effective way. Larger files mean you're probably gonna need more SD cards, more CF Express cards, of course, more storage, and that's an extra expense that you don't really understand you need until you have the need for that extra expense. If you have a cloud service and you like to back up your image on the cloud, longer download times, longer upload times, and quicker eating of your space. You have to think about these things for more than just megapixels are great because some guy online said it. Now, whenever it comes to making this camera purchase, I need you to listen to me. You don't always need a hybrid camera. Now, I get it, hybrid cameras are the rage. You can do so much, they're fantastic, but you guys, let's be serious. If you're someone, whether it's a hobbyist or a professional, if you don't shoot any video and you don't plan on shooting any video, why are you prioritizing the video specs for a just in case? Buy the camera you really want, whether it's film, whether it's photo, whether it's something like a Leica M10D or MD262 or a Nikon DF, whether it is, you know, for video, a Mavo, Konica, whatever in the world those things are. Whether it's a red camera if you need it, whether it's just a Canon C100 or something like that. You don't have to always purchase the hybrid camera. A lot of times that isn't the best purchase for you whenever you're looking to do one certain thing. Niche cameras are niche, and the most important thing about niche camera is that means they're really good at that niche, better than something that does double work. I shoot an XH2S. I have a hybrid camera because I use this for sports and for video, but I split my time evenly. Now, if you're someone who's primarily doing just one or the other, I don't think you need to worry about how well of photos your video camera takes if you're not going to shoot photos on it, period. And I don't think you need to worry about how good a video your photo camera takes if you don't plan on recording any video, or it's just going to be a once in a blue moon thing. Cell phones are really good right now, and they can do very well at kind of compensating for what you don't have. Also, to all the people that are going to tell me you should always future-proof your camera, this is a blah blah blah, listen, make your own video about it. I don't care. You guys, I've shot recently professional sports with a Canon 1DX. I shot them with the Leica M262. Those are cameras that came out, I believe, in like 2012 and 2015 respectively. And guess what? Those images were published and I was paid. It didn't really matter what camera I was using. More importantly, my glass was fantastic and the images came out tack sharp because I hit focus. That matters more than your camera and future-proofing it. I could still continue to use that. Think about it. A camera that came out in 2015 is still future-proof for photography right now. It's a pretty damn big deal. Time for a cold one. Picking a camera is more than just some of the things that I mentioned though. There are so many more things that go into, most notably kind of this idea of, I mentioned it earlier, but creative freedom, or just like the creative just process that is unlocked with your camera. That's a big deal. If you're someone who wants to shoot a certain type of whatever it is, or someone that, you know, wants to be seen with your camera, take it everywhere with you. If you have a camera you think is ugly as shit that you bought just because you like the specs, you're not going to carry that thing around. Now, if you have a fly ass camera that you absolutely love the way it looks, you like the lens, it looks beefy, it looks cool, it looks vintage, retro, whatever it is, you're more likely to carry that around because you're going to like the compliments. You're going to put it up, pair it with your fit. And I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are going to be against that. Oh, these cameras just an accessory. But here's the thing, shut the fuck up. No one cares what you think if you're going to be negative about everything. I certainly don't, and honestly, no one else does. And again, make your own content about some kind of weird bitching about people that wear cameras as accessories. Listen, we want our cameras to look fly. There's a reason why Nikon F2s and F3s are timeless. There's a reason why Leica's timeless. There's a reason why Olympus OM1s are timeless, but not everyone's running for the really, really beefy, chunky, early 2000s, late 1990s point and shoots or cameras because they don't look as good. A Canon T whatever in the world it is, 600 or a Nikon F100N or whatever it is, they are way better cameras than an F2, an F3, a Canon AE1, but guess what? They don't fucking look as cool, and so people don't buy them. So it is what it is. And I think one of the biggest things to think about whenever it comes to which cameras we're buying, what gear you're buying, what lenses you're buying, is again, at the end of the day, buy what makes you happy and buy what you think is cool. If you think a camera looks cool or feels cool or makes you happy because of the way it looks, you're more likely to take it out more often, you're going to get better at shooting, and you're going to want to create more with it and be very, very proud of it. I love when people post photos of their cameras. I'm not the douchebags who think that posting photos of your cameras are more important than anything else. Unless you're the person that talks shit about everyone else taking photos, but you only post your camera. I'm tired of seeing that. Stop making brands your personality and being an asshole. It's completely ridiculous. But again, I digress. I think it's good to have something that you absolutely love to look at, that you absolutely love to carry, because you're more likely to take more snaps with that. You're more likely to be very proud of it and hold it proudly. Listen, I proudly hold my Fujifilm whenever I'm at professional events, whenever I'm on assignments, etc. I know a lot of people who may not do the same. I've been shamed for the cameras that I use. I've been talked down to personally by the cameras that I use, whether it's on YouTube or in person. But here's the thing, I'm the person that's actually at these places making money or getting paid the same as the guy who's bitching at me about, you know, needing to take this more seriously and upgrade to a Canon or a Nikon or a Sony. Listen, at the end of the day, do what makes you happy, do what gets you paid, and more importantly, make the purchase that's going to make you fall in love with photography. Unlock that creative series, that creative gene, that creative, you know, whatever it is that's festering up inside of you. And a lot of times a camera purchase will do that. Do I recommend buying cameras all the time, swapping cameras and having that whole gas issue and etc.? No, I don't. But I believe if you're making a purchase, if you're switching for a specific reason and you want something that'll benefit you and you want the least amount of buyer's remorse from spending all this extra money on gear, this is the way to go. This is the way, as they say in the Star Trek. But yeah, these are some ideas, and these are some of the things that I mentioned whenever people want to buy cameras. Buy the camera that you'll want to shoot, but also buy the camera that makes the most sense for you. Stop worrying about specs and what people talk about. Figure out what you're going to take photos of and then lean in towards that. You know if you want a small camera, if you want a big camera. You know if you want a battery grip or not. You know if you want to be able to put on big lenses or not have to change lenses. You know all of these things. You know so much already. It's just a matter of putting it down and then taking action to get to the camera that you absolutely want. The reason why we usually have so many choices when we're making a purchasing decision, a buying decision, a financial decision is usually because we're allowing ourselves to hear more than we actually need to hear. Instead of knowing what exactly it is that we need, we allow for other things to come in as well, but. Take the butt out of your life. Booty's good, but not that great. It's great to ask other photographers what they recommend, but make sure to preface what you're going to shoot first. Don't just say, what is a good camera to start with? What is a good camera to buy? Make sure to say things like, what is a good camera for someone who wants to start travel photography? What is a good camera for someone who wants to start vlogging? What is a good camera for someone who wants to get in commercial videography? What is a great camera for someone that likes to shoot sport or that wants to shoot sports and they're starting out? People will direct you to what you need, whether it's a Canon 1D or a C100, whether it's a Sony a7 III or a Fujifilm X-T2, whether it's the Panasonic S5 IIX, or it's, you know, something, I don't know, like a Leica CL or whatever in the world, the digital kind. People will be able to direct you to where you need to go if you give them enough information, and more importantly, it helps you go over exactly what it is that you need, the criteria that you're setting up for yourself so you can start marking things off the box when they have specs or just any other extra information that you don't need. Again, you need to be the one to have the final say, and it helps if you know exactly what you're looking for before you start looking for it.